I literally almost canceled this client's appointment as soon as he walked in the door. I mean, come on, honestly, what do you even do with this much hair? How did you even let your hair get like this? Luckily for Josh, he came to the right place because I live for haircut transformations just like the one I'm about to show you guys.
Where'd you say you're coming from?
South Carolina.
You have a good barber out there? Or no?
It's another...
Not too bad.
Not really. Yeah, you know, it's kind of like a cheaper one. You know, they get the job done, but, you know, trying something a little different.
How long has it been since you cut it?
For about a month or so.
A month or so?
Yeah.
Josh let me know that he wanted to keep a lot of the length on this haircut. He really likes his curls, so length in the back wasn't really a problem. He just wanted an overall better shape to his flow haircut, because essentially that's what this is. A flow haircut, everything flowing to the back, keeping the length in the back, but shortening everything on the sides and a little bit off the top. But before we even start to map this haircut out, if you haven't yet, smash that subscribe button. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. I'm posting crazy haircut transformations and all around haircut educational tutorials just like this one almost every single week, and we have a long way to go, so every new subscriber counts. Now, where do we start with this crazy head of hair? There's so much hair. Where do we actually start? I started in the back. The back is where I see the most hair and the biggest problem. Josh vocalized that he liked the length in the back, but it was just too heavy. So starting with a profile section down the center of the back, I'm finding that length underneath the occipital bone, and I'm starting with that length, using it as a guide. Now we know if we pull the hair straight off of the head 90 degrees and work with the round of the head, that's going to give us a lot more movement. So that's what I'm doing. I'm pulling everything out 90 degrees and starting that first guideline right down the center of the back of his head. And from there, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing to the right and left of the back of his head. Taking vertical sections down, pulling everything out 90 degrees, finding my length underneath the occipital bone where the nape area is, and following that guide straight up, just pulling everything out 90 degrees, because we know if we pull everything out 90 degrees, we're going to work with the round of the head, and that is going to create more movement. Now, one thing you might notice when I'm pulling down these vertical sections is I'm actually taking a little bit of hair from the previous section, so I don't just have a guide from my bottom lengths underneath the occipital bone. I actually have a guide working vertically through the entire layer, also assuring me that I'm not missing any hair as I work to the right and to the left. Now look at all that weight we're cutting out. That is so much weight that was just sitting on top of that length. And you'll see as we work more towards the side panel, it gets even worse because the sides were so grown out. Them sides being so grown out was just making his head look like a big square. And as you can see, I'm just checking my guide when I get to the top of every layer, making sure I'm not cutting off too much. Again, just continuing to work with the round of the head, pulling everything out 90 degrees. After I'm done cutting, I'll comb through the hair, make sure everything's flowing nice. Even though I know I'm gonna curl this back up, I still wanna just make sure everything's flowing nice as I'm cutting. Now I'm just going to repeat the same steps on the left side of the back of his head, pulling everything straight out, finding that length underneath the occipital bone, and making sure the entire back is layered evenly. Now I'm just gonna fast forward this part so you can still watch it visually, but it's the same steps as we did on the other half of the back of the head. So yeah, this is just more visually so you guys can still see exactly what I did. But after we're done with the back of the head, we're still not done just yet. I always pull everything out horizontally to cross-check the back of my haircuts. No matter what, I always like to cross-check when I'm using my scissors. Even though I'm pulling my sections out and using a guide from each section, you never know when one hair is just going to be missing out of that section, so it's always good to double check. And since we didn't actually take any length off, I'm using my feather razor to, one, make sure that everything blends nice and smoothly into that length, but also if there is any specific specifically longer pieces in that length, I can always use my feather razor to make sure that everything across the back is nice and even. And now with the back complete, we're gonna continue into the second biggest problem, the sides. Using graduation, I'm gonna first choose the length that I want my sideburns. Josh made it clear that he did not want any tapers. He wanted his sideburns to look nice and natural, still have some curls on the sides. So I'm using a little bit longer than finger length guide at the temple, and then I'm gonna use backwards diagonal sections, pulling everything down to that length. This is going to build shape throughout the sides while also removing all of that excess weight. Now remember, as you start working past the ear, make sure to over direct everything to that guide so you're not cutting any length off of the back. Now here I'm using that guide from the back and just continuing that horizontal shape across both of my side panels, making sure that horizontally everything is round. And then on the other side, I'm going to continue my graduation, just graduating the sideburns into the back, same as I did on the left side. So again, I'm just gonna fast forward this because it is the same exact steps that I did on the other side. But once my sides are complete, I'm going to check everything, check the flow, make sure everything's flowing back. And while I was checking the left side of my haircut, I just noticed a little bit too much weight internally, so I pulled another section and just fixed that. When you have a good system, I say it all the time, it's so much easier to fix mistakes that you may run into. Now with both side panels complete, blended into the back, the only thing left is to now connect the top into the sides and back. Now for the top of this haircut, it was very simple. I dissected the top right down the middle using the nose as my guide to make sure that it's perfectly symmetrical on both sides. I started in the back, pulling everything down into my horizontal guideline from the sides, and I'm literally just connecting that. Now I say this was very simple because most of the weight on the top of the head was more so around the crown area towards the back and throughout the center of his head. As we work towards the front where his fringe is at, there really wasn't much to cut. So I'm really just removing all the weight internally and pulling my fingers out away from his eyes as I get closer to the fringe, and even pulling down. That's going to over direct the hair away from that section that I created. That's going to create more length in the front. And as I work back towards the back, I'm going to lift up and remove more weight. Now you should be left with something like this. Length sitting in the back and all your weight throughout the sides and back removed. I am just going to continue that same step around the other side, connecting the other half of the top of his hair into the sides. Now I'm just fast forwarding this because I did the same thing on the other side. But as you can see in the front, I elevated everything down to create more length in the front. And as I work my way back through the ear and behind the ear, I'm elevating everything up to remove weight. Now what I'm about to do here is an absolute pro tip. I'm going to dissect the head diagonally. So I'm going to create a section throughout the entire head diagonally from the recession points in the front to the back of his ear on both sides. I'm going to do here, I'm doing the left side, and then I'm going to do the right side. And I'm just elevating all this hair up, because where does hair grow the most dense? It grows the most dense in the back two corners of our head. So when I have someone like Josh who has extremely thick hair and I notice that it's growing extremely too fast and extremely too heavy around the crown, specifically on the both of the sides of his crown, I'm gonna want to make sure that I do this. I do this with most brushbacks unless I'm trying to create more of a square, heavier shape. But for this, his hair is way too thick, so I'm gonna do this on both sides. Now, trust me, your clients probably aren't going to notice that you're doing this, but subconsciously they will appreciate the fact that they don't have to come in for a haircut in a week or two when this grows out so much faster. This is going to give your haircut a little bit more longevity. Now the only thing left for this haircut is to cut the top internally, vertically through the center of the head. So I'm just picking all the hair up, lifting it up, finding my shortest long piece in the back, and just taking that guide straight through the top. You'll see here it's a lot heavier through the center of the head, but as we get towards the fringe, the length shortens. So we're just going to cut completely square across the top, not cutting any length off of the fringe, just removing that weight internally to create a more balanced look up top. And with the top complete, I'm gonna wanna curl this hair back up so I could really see the exact shape that Josh is going to wear. For this haircut, I'm going to use 4 curls and a generous amount at that. Josh has very thick hair, and this product doesn't leave his hair hard. It's gonna leave the curls nice and soft, but curled up nice and tight. And you're gonna wanna use a diffuser to dry the product into the hair. This is going to give you the desired curly shape that you want. And once I have the hair completely curled up, styled exactly how I want, it's time to just do some fine detailing with my feather razor. As you can see here, I'm just detailing his sideburns, making sure that they flow, but they're not too heavy towards the bottom. Josh wears a clean shaved face with just the mustache, so I'm using my trimmers to clean up any hair on his chin, cheeks, up into the sideburns, and we cleaned up the mustache a bit so that he doesn't have to do that when he goes home. And while I have my trimmers in hand, I'm also going to clean up the back of his neck underneath all of that hair. You don't want to just leave that. Trust me, clients will deeply appreciate you cleaning up them hairs on the back of the neck. So this is how Josh came in, looking absolutely insane, and this is how Josh is leaving. A completely different person. He is jaw maxing to the max, hair maxing to the max, and honestly, I really just don't even recognize this guy. But let me know what you guys think. Did we completely transform Josh's look or what? Let me know in the comments. And after you let me know in the comments, before you leave, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are dropping a lot more crazy haircut transformation tutorials and a ton of educational pieces very soon, every week. So help me get to 100,000 subscribers. I really appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.